What is up, Cowboys Nation? Your boy Mike Tag here with my man Greg. As usual, man, this is Sunday morning, chilling, relaxing, maybe stress-free. I don't know if it's stress-free with the state of the Cowboys. But before we get going, make sure everyone who's starting to hop in, hit that subscribe, hit the like, hit the share. Appreciate you all for hanging with us on a Sunday morning after some crazy college football, which we'll get into. Obviously, we'll get into the Cowboys-Eagles game. Just kind of doesn't have the hype that it usually has. But we'll definitely want to get your thoughts on that. Dak Prescott, obviously looking like he's going to have season-ending surgery. So it's going to be a long look at Cooper Rush and Trey Lance. But, Greg, how are you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing great, man. I told you, I've come to the resolution that this season is what it is. So now I'm excited to see what's on the bench. I'm excited to see what these other quarterbacks going to do. Put them out there. Let's see what we got and see who really wants the job.
Yeah. No, I mean, we talked about it earlier, and we'll get into it a lot. But, there's that mindset of team tank. And I don't hate on it. I mean, I get the side of it. I'm not like, I can't bring myself to just hope my team loses. I don't care what they are, man. When they're 1-15, I was trying to win every game. And when they're 5-11, I thought we'd win, the game on Sunday. If I get to a point of hoping they lose and like watching the game, wanting them to lose and getting mad if they get a touchdown, I would just shut it off. And like I said, man, I live in Florida. You live in Florida. I can find a lot of better things to do than sit on the couch hoping my team gets their ass whooped. I just can't do it. I just can't.
No, I can't either. And I never have. In my entire life, I've never looked at Dallas and got so mad and say, I hope you lose and let's get something in the draft. Because just like you were saying earlier before the show, you don't know what you're going to get in the draft. And then we got a GM, president, one that wears 50 hats. You don't know how he's going to pick in the draft anyway. Hell, he might go get Pootie Tang out the draft and tell him that'll be our next quarterback. You don't know. So I don't ever want the draft to be the consolation prize for having a bad season. I want us to win. I don't care if it's one game a season. Like that 1-15, when we won that game, I was happy. That was my Super Bowl because we won a game. So I'm looking that way for the rest of the season.
And a lot of people don't know, or they forgot, or they just, whatever. But, being from the U and being Miami fans, I was extra special because it was Jimmy Johnson's first win as former Hurricane coach. And Steve Walsh was the quarterback that led the Cowboys to their only win that year. It wasn't Troy Aikman. So you had Steve Walsh, former Miami Hurricane. So for Canes fans, it was kind of special in that regard. But yeah, that one game, I still remember it. It was a Sunday night game. It was sweet. It was awesome. And as a kid, just watching it, and it was our only win. So you kind of savor it. Maybe the Cowboys are going to be in this side of it, but that one win was against their division rival at the time, Washington and Dallas. That was the East rival, man. That was number one and probably historically the number one rival all time for the Cowboys. So beating them made it extra sweet. So, we'll get into it. Looking at the Eagles, maybe this is our only win, for the rest of the year. But if this was our only win for the rest of the year that we can get, I would love it to be this one. If we're only going to get one win, it would be so sweet for them to beat the Eagles. That would make it that'd make it extra special.
Yeah, it would, because I'm telling you this. I'm looking today. I'm looking at all the optimistic aspects of how we can win this game if everybody does this. Everybody does this. So I'm looking as though we're going out there to compete today, not to go out there and lay down. Because to be honest with you, now that all the players realize that Dak is out for the season, I think all these guys are playing for their jobs. And when you play for your job, you start to pull something out of you that you weren't pulling out early in the season, and you can't take nothing for granted. So I think these guys are going to be playing for the jobs. Now we get to see what's on the bench. They didn't get a chance to play much during the season. Now they got to go all in. And I really want to see what's going to happen. And if we beat them today, opportunity at home, we beat them. That would be great against those birds with a depleted team like we got.
Yeah, and I would say this, DJ. Again, I have no issues. Some people want to lose to hurt Jerry. Some people want to lose to tank. I'm not a fan of the Cowboys because of Jerry Jones. I'm not a fan of the Cowboys because of any players that are on a team today. I was a fan of the Cowboys as a kid watching Tony Dorsett, Cowboys being on TV, and I had a Cowboys shirt, and that's why I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the star, and I'm a fan of that franchise.
Right.
I have no elite. Jerry Jones can sell the team tomorrow. I could care less. They could trade Dak Prescott, CD Lamb, Micah Parsons. Will I be upset? Sure, but I'm still going to be a fan. So I can't get in that mindset that others do. I respect it, and I understand. Hey, screw Jerry Jones. I'm all for it. He's done a bad job. With this team, he's kind of sick. We talked all day about it, and we could probably talk for 24 hours straight about the things that he did not to help this team get better and look at the opportunity to get better. But I just can't do it. I don't know. Greg, can you do it? I mean, I just can't.
Nope. I tell people, and if you're in the audience, don't take this as disrespect, but I tell people all the time who aren't Cowboys fans, and we talk and we meet, I say, how you know a real Cowboys fan? Just ask them the first question. Hey, what do you think about Jerry Jones? If they say, oh, I love Jerry Jones, they ain't a Cowboys fan. That's a bandwagon fan. A real Cowboys fan can't stand Jerry Jones, but we love the Dallas Cowboys. We love the Dallas Cowboys, not Jerry Jones.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree 100%. And we're going to get into it, but hey, the old adage is if you're gonna dish it out, you got to take it.
That's right.
And I've been very hard on some other teams in college football, and I've been running my mouth about my Canes. And unfortunately, and Greg, you've been there right beside me, so I guess you got to take it too. The Canes just played like garbage against Georgia Tech, and you and I talked about it. Is Mario's always due for one of these games, and this was. I always, it's on the players, but this was bad coaching decisions left and right on both sides of the ball. In my opinion, you're playing an inferior team that all they could do is run. They're playing backups. You play smart. You play aggressive. And the Canes did neither. They fall to Georgia Tech. I mean, there's teams. Everyone has a loss, pretty much. I mean, you got Oregon, you got BYU, you got a few other teams there. But the Canes take a hit. Georgia takes another hit, and we'll talk about that to see if you think that hurts their chances in the playoffs or you still think they can get in. Bama looks like the Bama old and absolutely annihilated LSU. Texas gave Florida a beating. We did too, so who cares? But Texas gets back on track with an impressive, dominating win. So the landscape of college football changes every week. I think that's why college football is so great. And the playoff, the 12-team playoff, just makes it even more exciting because a team like Bama, has got a couple losses. Georgia, a couple losses. They're not dead. In the old days, they would be.
Yeah, they would be. Yep. But not now. And the Miami, that game pissed me off thoroughly yesterday. But, we saw it coming because we saw them hanging on the thread all season long, looking for Cam to be the glory saver to bring us through. And I kept saying, eventually that train is going to leave the station. They better be ready for it. Mario didn't adjust in that Georgia Tech game. I didn't see any running really yesterday. I didn't see any adjustments. It's like we went up there and took them for granted. We'll get this one out the way and we'll move on. And we know from the history of Miami, when they lose a game like this, in the past, they seem to go downhill. But I'm hoping it's totally different. We got Cam. It might be a wake-up call. We got to get back Wake Forest at home. Syracuse games worries me. That worries me.
That's the one game, it's on the road. That's the one game where I think, they better be ready to play. But everything is in front of them. I mean, let's look at the loss. The loss did nothing to improve or hurt their chances. No. They went out. They're going to be in the ACC championship. They're going to more than likely play SMU unless SMU slips up. So they could still be the 4 seed or 3rd, whatever it ends up being. They would still be one of the top 4 seeds with a bye. So it really did nothing to hurt their chances. But I think what it did was continue to expose their defense is reminiscent of the Cowboys of last year. We kind of talked about it to where the offense, if the offense isn't clicking on all cylinders, the defense is not going to be able to carry the load and hold it down. That's kind of the disappointing part because they've got the talent on defense. I'm not a big fan of the coordinator. I'm not a fan of some of the scheme. We talked about 3rd and 18. I mean, how do you leave a guy wide open? Why aren't you playing, deep back and just keep everything in front of you from the first down marker. They just let some dude just stay wide open in the middle of the field. They're playing cover 2. So those are the kind of things that is a little bit, frustrating as a Canes fan watching this team. And hey, how do they stack up against Georgia? How do they stack up against Bama? How do they stack up against Texas? Because offensively, I think they stack up as good or probably better than all those teams. It's a defensive side that's the concern.
Yep. And, they're going to have to be ready to sling that ball and run that ball the next 2 games. But see, what we can't afford to do, Pittsburgh getting beat last night, because I watched it, that helped us as well. We can't, if we win these 2 games right here, we won't allow Pittsburgh or Clemson to show their faces. And if we play SMU, check this out. You talking about irony. Lashley was our offensive coordinator a couple of years ago, and he's the coach of SMU. I remember when he took the job. Yeah. And it would be something to see him playing against Miami when he was the offensive coordinator, and we got Cristobal now to coach. But like I was telling you earlier, not tomorrow, but at the end of the season, I expect us to get rid of the defensive coordinator and go get another one, because our defensive coordinator right now, to me, he's not hot trash, but he's starting to smell. And the offense needs to run against Wake Forest, because that'll make them shoot up and try to protect the run. And then all of a sudden we can throw the ball. So hopefully this game woke them all up. Offensive coordinator realizes that. Cristobal realizes that. Defensive coordinator tries to do what he can do. And let's give our defense a C minus, because they didn't allow them to score 30 or 40 points on us like they have in the past. It's just our offense kind of blew this game.
Yeah, no, it was well, they got ran over. I mean, that was the unfortunate part. They got ran over by Georgia. They had no passing and they just allowed it. But I think we've got Martinez. I mean, you got to run the ball. I mean, you got to run the ball. When you got Martinez, you got to be able to run the ball. And obviously even Fletcher. I mean, the thing about Cam, I love Cam. The only knock I've always given on Cam, he holds the ball too long and he runs in a circle. And there was opportunity where he could have just ran the ball. It's almost like that. It's like except Dak doesn't scramble like that, but it's like run a little bit. I think he sometimes, these kids, they want to prove that they're a passer, so much that they don't use their legs. And it's not, he doesn't have to be Lamar Jackson or, Steve Young back in the day, but just run effectively like a Patrick Mahomes. If you ever watch Patrick Mahomes, he scrambles around, he runs effectively, gets out. He doesn't take a hits, he doesn't do that. Right. He keeps the drives going. I think that's what Cam Ward, if he can kind of just shore up that part of his game, he's got a bright future in the NFL. But that's the one part of his game I just wish he would just kind of just run when he gets that opportunity. But hey, college football has been fun. McCain's lost, but shoot, man, and there's so many teams that lose. It's disappointing, but life goes on, and it ain't over for them by a long shot. So it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. And, and the thing about Cam too, when he does run or when he takes off to the side, like he's going to run and fake you, it's good because that defensive cornerback or that linebacker pulls up and allows him to dump the ball. And he did that at least once yesterday, and that's good. But speaking of quarterbacks not running, one of the things that shocked me all season about our Cowboys was Dak. Dak had opportunities to run that ball. I don't know if Dak was afraid of his calf.
Well, you saw what happened when he ran the ball. He got hurt.
Yeah, but I was wondering because I was like, Dak, what is it this season that Dak wasn't running the ball as much when he had opportunities to get yards like he did in the past? I know he ain't getting old where he can't run. That puzzled me. And I said in one of my hype videos, when we lost, who was it? Not the Ravens, not who was it after the Ravens that we lost? Oh, damn it. Anyway, after that, when I did a hype video and I said, it was after the loss. And I said, I don't know what it is. I can't put my finger on it. I said, but something's going on with Dak. I can't put my finger on it, but something's not right. His equilibrium, his vertigo, something about his mentality or something is off. And I said, I don't know what it is, but there's something very noticeable about Dak that's different than last year, any other, because he didn't run the ball that much this year like we expected when it was time to. His passes were unorthodox. They were in the ground a lot. They were over the head. I don't know what it is, but I don't wish any injuries on anybody, and I wish he was still there. But with him being out, maybe he can have some reflection on which he probably will reflect on what he's doing and what he hasn't been doing, and then he can work on getting his new house built since he tore down the other one and got all that money.
Yeah,
but
he's got plenty of time on his hands
he
right
got
now.
plenty of time.
Mickey Goldmill and Rocky said women weaken legs. I don't know if that's true or not. But
well,
anyway.
I just hope that McCarthy, I hope McCarthy has a game plan to get Trey Lance involved in the offense in some form or fashion against the Eagles. I don't care if it's third down, care if it's you're gonna do a shotgun or you're gonna do wildcat, something. Because Trey can run. Trey can
we're going to get into the future for the Cowboys this season. But looking at Dak Prescott, his season's over. And, the future in Dallas. And what I mean by that, obviously, 9 years in, this injury, my wife, she's in the medical profession. She told, obviously, hamstring, it's mostly all conditioning. And I don't know who their training staff, this and that, but hamstring injuries are primarily conditioning, but pulling it off the bone. And, that was odd. So his other injuries have been broken ankle. That's football. That's structural. That's a freak thing that happens. I think he had a broken finger. He hit on a helmet or something like that. Was kind of freak thing. This is the one thing where you're kind of, oh man, now you're in that soft tissue. You're in these injuries that could they linger? Could they do this? And his career has been eerily similar to Tony Romo. Taking over for a veteran, hot start, had a lot of moments, get things going. And then, he coming off that MVP type season, second MVP, and then injuries. And for Romo, it was his back, right? It was, which is the back is probably much worse, obviously. Yeah. And it just never was the same. So you look at it, you look at this team, there's a good possibility. There's a good possibility this team could be picking in the top 5, top 10. You get, they hadn't picked that high since probably Zeke, right? If my memory's right, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking way back in Zeke days when he was a rookie, obviously. If there's a quarterback and they can get and there's no guarantee, but you only get an opportunity to get a top 10 pick and a top 10 type top quarterback within that draft so many times. Do the Cowboys, if there's one there, do you take them?
Well,
and I'd ask you guys in the chat.
I wouldn't listen with our quarterback situation and not knowing exactly what Jerry Jones is going to do with Trey Lance. It wouldn't bother me a bit. But that quarterback has got, then again, you don't know what you got in the quarterback till you get him, because look at Bryce Young, and it's not all his fault. He ain't getting the ball.
No, you don't know. There's no guarantee.
No, you just don't know. But
shot.
I wouldn't have a problem with it if we got a quarterback. But it's not like we got a GM that's in there helping make the decisions. Jerry, if he did get a quarterback, Jerry wouldn't get the quarterback out there that probably makes the most sense for us, or a quarterback that we know, yes, if we can get him. I don't think Jerry would make the right move on a quarterback. I think he'd go out there and get a quarterback, and we'll do this in the first round, and it would blow our mind. If we got a bona fide quarterback in that first round, wouldn't bother me a bit.
And the thing I would say is, you look at the Rodgers, you look at Love, you look at some of these teams. Other teams have done it. Atlanta just did it, they had Kirk Cousins. Because I guess what I'm saying is, I'm not saying Dak's gone, right? You're going to just flip the script, but you got a guy that could sit for a couple years, and then when Dak's contract, there is some relief where they could kind of move on from Dak, after a couple years, and you'd have a rookie on a quarterback on a rookie deal, so you could absorb that hit a lot better. So I'm just saying, there's not often that you get an opportunity to draft a quarterback. If there's one there and they have that pick, I think it would be hard for the Cowboys to pass up.
And yes, and that would be great if they did. We don't know what Jerry's going to do with Trey Lance. And to be honest with you, I don't see a future with Trey Lance with the Cowboys, because Jerry's not using him. And I don't, and McCarthy's not bringing them in the game. So if we're not going to use them this year, so we can see what we got, unless now that Dak is out, they use this first game with Philly, of course, they're going to go with what they know. Rush is a manager, and if they decide to put Lance in after that and going forward, then we'll know what we got in Lance, and then we'll know the potential of whether he's going to keep Lance as that third or that second round quarterback, and then he won't decide to use that draft pick if we go that high on a quarterback. But right now we don't know what he's going to do with Lance. We don't know that Lance is even going to be with us next year.
No, he's gone. Lance is gone. Lance is gone. He's not. They're not gonna keep him.
But if he does get a quarterback in the draft, I hope he allows a lot of input on that selection, and if McCarthy's still there, if he's still there, allow McCarthy to give some input, because now is the time to go out there looking at Dak being 9 years or whatever. Now is the time to go look at the future. Look at that future quarterback. And if Dak got paid, so at least a minimum of 2 more years, Jerry's going to absorb Dak, whatever we get from him because of the money he paid him. That'll give that new upstarting potential franchise quarterback an opportunity to study under Dak and Cooper Rush, because Cooper Rush is going to be with us, I think, until Cooper Rush turns old. He'll be that reliable backup no matter what. Jerry's going to always keep him. But if we get that quarterback that is a legend in the making, a future quarterback, that would be great. I just don't have confidence in Jerry's decision making when it comes time to turning in that card on a quarterback, that Jerry won't listen to the people around him and get the best one out there at that top pick.
Yeah, well, it'll be interesting. I mean, the Cowboys more than likely are going to be in that position. It's just going to be a matter of, is there a quarterback? If a quarterback falls to him, my opinion, if you have an opportunity to take a top quarterback, I don't think you ever pass it up. I think it's foolish, because you just don't get that opportunity that often. And then, it's a 5-year contract, so you've got time to where Dak could play a few years. And if Dak's, winning Super Bowls and the team's winning Super Bowls, it's just like with Brett Favre. I mean, great. If he's playing good, fine. You got a good insurance policy. But at some point, you're going to need to pass the torch. And I don't want the Cowboys to go in to a quarterback purgatory the way they did in transition. They're very fortunate with Romo to Dak, right?
Yeah.
You didn't miss a beat. They're probably the same type of quarterback statistically and everything else. But when Aikman left, I mean, they had nothing to show for it. So I'd rather be safe. But
Mike, they didn't know what they had in Dak. Jerry didn't select Dak because Dak's the future. He just selected him because he was a quarterback available then. And another thing too, if we are that high in the draft and there is a quarterback and everybody's like, oh, the pick is going to fall in Dallas' hand. He is the best quarterback out there. He's going to be lightning. I can see Jerry calling up teams saying, look, you give me your number one pick in this draft. You give me your number 2, give me your second round and third round picks or whatever, and give me this and give me that. And I'll let you have this high pick in the draft, because they know they want to get a quarterback. I can see him doing that to get other players and to get other draft picks in the 2025 draft. I can see him doing that because he paid Dak. And knowing Jerry's mindset, I don't see Jerry going out there getting a future quarterback in that top round because he paid Dak. Because remember, Jerry likes quarterbacks used to be baseball players. Jerry likes to go.
Wow, that's way back.
But he likes to go deep in the draft to get quarterbacks. And if he's that high in the draft, in the top 5, I guarantee.
I mean, the last quarterback in the first round, I think, is Troy Aikman. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, you could say Steve Walsh was a supplemental pick, but
who was around
that was in the same year?
Who was around Jerry Jones to make that decision?
No, I know. I'm just saying the Cowboys have never in their history they've never drafted a quarterback. Even in the bad 5 and 11 years,
you're right.
They did not draft a quarterback. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But let's talk about the Cowboys Eagles. I mean, you'd love to say there's some excitement, the rivalry and all this and that. Really not so much. It's unfortunate Dallas is depleted. Like I said, and I did a video with Dak. I don't want to see. I wouldn't want to see Jalen Hurts get hurt. I would want to see Brown make sure he's in there. I don't want to see players. I want to see us play against the other team's best. This is professional football. I want to beat the teams at their best. It's unfortunate for the Cowboys. They're not at their best. No one's going to give them any sympathy. No one's going to cry for them. No one's going to take it lightly on them. If anything, these teams are probably, hey, let's put it on them given the opportunity. So, could the Cowboys upset Philly? I was on a great podcast with Birds versus Boys. Guys are a lot of, great guys, and they were Eagle fans. I was actually surprised they weren't as confident in this game. They weren't as confident because they just feel like, man, this is just kind of funky. It's just, there's whenever you have these games like this with a rivalry, something crazy could end up happening. So I don't know if Cowboys can pull the upset. I'll give you a couple things where maybe there's an opportunity. And I mean, we're grasping at straws with it because the Cowboys on paper should get annihilated. I mean, the run defense is non-existent. The Eagles have one of the best rushing offenses in the NFL. The Cowboys are playing with their backup quarterback, who's basically a sitting duck back there. So it should be nice and easy for the defense to just zero in on them, unless they got some packages for Trey Lance. But one thing I think, and you could see it in some teams, what they call those trap games. Cowboys are a pushover. The Cowboys, should get rolled. The Eagles do play Washington on Thursday, very short week. Could they be looking ahead? Could they be, just looking past Dallas? That would be one thing, if you want to hold on any hope, is the Eagles just looking past Dallas because they play Washington on a short week. The other hope is Nick Sirianni. And that was what the Eagle fans said. Nick Sirianni could be Nick Sirianni and basically hand the game over. You watch the Eagles this year. The Eagles have talent. Make no mistake about it. They're one of the most talented teams. But they always find a way to either make things closer than they need to or lose. And that Jacksonville game was we talked about it on their show. I mean, they did everything to give that game to Jacksonville, and Jacksonville just said, here, take it back. Trevor Lawrence, which I don't understand why Trevor Lawrence doesn't get the heat that Dak Prescott does. Trevor Lawrence is making $55+ million. I don't see where the media is on his ass every single week, because that looks like a lot of wasted money in Jacksonville. But those are the kind of things that we talked about. I mean, what could you guys see? And in the chat, what could you see, any opportunity, any silver lining that would give you any sense of hope that the Cowboys could even win?
Yeah. Real quick, Ultra, Jerry Jones didn't own Dallas when Troy Aikman got drafted. I know that.
He did. No, he owned them. Yeah. That's when he bought the team. That's when he bought the team. And Aikman was going to be the quarterback anyway. He was already there with Landry.
And Jimmy Johnson always wanted Troy anyway, in a sense, because that made this part even sweeter, because he remembers Troy when Troy was at UCLA back in Arkansas and all that other stuff. So he liked Troy. I mean,
Troy Aikman turned him down twice. Let's just, I didn't see the comment, but just to validate what you're saying, Troy Aikman, Jimmy Johnson tried to recruit him at Oklahoma State. Troy Aikman turned him down, went to Oklahoma. When Troy Aikman was going into not transfer portal, but was leaving UCLA or leaving Oklahoma
to go to UCLA.
Barry Switzer knew Jimmy Johnson. He made Jimmy Johnson aware, hey, Troy Aikman is going to be, we're going to let him go to another school. And Jimmy Johnson went after him again, and he turned Jimmy Johnson down again and ended up going to UCLA. And then Jimmy Johnson, obviously, that team drafted Troy Aikman. He said, he ain't getting away this time. So there is a lot of history with Jimmy Johnson and Troy Aikman.
But with Philly's got everything to lose in this game. They got everything to lose. We have nothing to lose. Everybody expects us to get ramrodded today. We have nothing to lose. You mentioned it. They got Nick Sirianni, the wild card, and he's wild. He might get out there and try to pull the Detroit Lions on us. Let linebackers get passes. Let the water boy go out there and play quarterback. He may try to embarrass us like Detroit Lions did, and it may backfire on them. And our guys are playing for their jobs. These guys know that, can't look at Dak. Dak's not going to be in the game. Defense, it's all on you, because we know Rush is going to manage. Rush can play a decent game. We still don't know if Trey's going to be part of it, but it's going to be a business decision for their jobs. And I think our guys play a little harder this game against Philly at home, not because they didn't try to play harder before, but because they know that they are definitely being evaluated because now Dak isn't the spotlight. So now the spotlight's on everybody else, and evaluation process is happening. So Philly's got everything to lose. Jacksonville gave them that game, and they should have won that game. Sirianni gave away the Atlanta game and almost gave up the Jacksonville game. So Philly, all you fans out there, y'all, some of y'all are glad you playing Dallas, but you know you playing them in Dallas, and you know that we have nothing to lose. So you're a little nervous.
Yeah, no, I they got nothing to lose. And I got to say, I'm surprised, and I'm glad. There's actually some people in Philly that like Nick Sirianni. I guess they're Cowboy fans because they're on they're hanging out with us in the cave, which I do appreciate. No hate there. I do love it. But I talked to a lot of Philly people. Last year they wanted his head. And I actually gave Philly fans, that's the one thing I give them credit for. They have no patience.
Right.
And they have no sympathy. They wanted Jalen gone after that terrible, run that they had at the end of the season. They lost 9 of 10 or something like that, got blown out in the playoffs. They wanted heads to roll. They wanted the GM, they wanted the coach, and they wanted the quarterback. That's right. And that, maybe not every Philly fan, but all the Philly fans I heard from and talked to, and I give that, that's where I was like, man, Philly, there's some passionate fans, and they have no sympathy, and they give no grace, and they give nothing. Either, we'll cut you. And this is a game, I'm telling you, if Dallas were to win, the fans, I don't know how much longer Nick Sirianni would have. I'm just being honest. I don't know how much longer. The fans that I've spoken to, their patience is wearing thin with Nick Sirianni. I mean, he has that wannabe tough guy, look and this, and he's a Paisan, so it's hard for me I don't want to hate on a fellow Paisan, but I don't know. Nick Sirianni is probably the coach that, if he's on your team, you like him. If you're a fan of the other team, you just want to punch his face because he just has that look that you want to hit. But I don't know him well enough, so he could be a great guy for all I know. I don't know.
Yeah, but Nick's issue is, and I'm glad you mentioned, because it is like a culture thing for Nick, knowing how he was raised and how he was growing up, to be that narcissist / I'm gonna do what I want to do. Okay, you the players. I like you, but I don't like you. I'm going to tell you what I want you to do, and you're going to do it whether you like it or not. Nick is not favored by all his players. There's good days with Nick. There's bad days. I don't mean like good days with a coach and bad days with a coach. It's his personality that a lot of the players don't like. Whether they win or lose, it's his personality. Fortunately for him, sometimes that resonates, and it's good when they win for the fans and for everybody else. The players in the locker room still may not like it all the time, but they're not playing for him. They're playing for each other. Now, Nick is the type of guy where Philly, who's not loyal to any player, Philly fans, they're not loyal to any player, any coach. They love the Philadelphia Eagles itself. They're not loyal to a player. They're not loyal to a coach. You can have 2 bad games in Philly. The fans not only want you out, they will help you move. But then soon as you start winning, then they're happy, but they're still not happy for you. They're happy for the Eagles because they'll pull the plug on you in a heartbeat. And if they lose this game to us, just like when they won that Super Bowl, and that one guy said, if we win, I'm going to go out there and eat horse caca. If they lose the Super Bowl, it's our game. I guarantee you there's some people in Philly right now probably got drunk last night and said, if we lose to Dallas, I'm going out and eat some horse mess tomorrow. And look, and if they do, I want somebody to put a video record and put it on YouTube like you did during the Super Bowl, because I know some of y'all crazy fans out there have made that bet.
Yeah. I don't, but I do. I wouldn't say every player. Some of these Eagle guys in here say the players love. I know a lot of people in Philly, and I don't believe that's to be true. But what the hell, hey, there's certain people that love certain coaches and this, and like I said, I like McCarthy. I'm one of the probably few that like McCarthy. Now I think McCarthy's gone. I think it's inevitable. I don't blame him for a lot of this. I think he was basically just set up to fail and by the ownership, but it is what it is. Move on. I could care less. My man Frank, he's in the chat. We got boots on the ground because he's at the game. I'm actually going to be hanging with Frank next weekend. I fly into Dallas Friday. We're going to go check out the Tyson Jake Paul fight. I just secured our tickets for Frank, myself, and my son are going out there. And then obviously we're going to be watching that Monday night game. So I got like 4 days in Dallas. So I'm gonna be meeting up with my man George Teague, even though he's making fun of me about my Canes losing. That's okay. We'll have some good lunch and good conversation. But I'm looking forward to it. But Frank, I was going to ask you while you're there, what is the mood in Dallas? It's got to be. I would think it's pretty somber. I think it would be kind of quiet there. I don't know. There's always a good Philly representation. And I said this before those guys on the show. I hang out with a lot of Philly fans. I interact with a lot of them at Texas Live and at the game. All a lot of fun. They're, the maybe because they're the ones who are actually going to the games and paying the money. Maybe they're just a different class level than maybe some of the Eagle fans, but it was great smack talking, all in fun, no violence, no this and that. So, I always have a great time. This is the first Philly Dallas game I've missed in probably 6 years. And it just, unfortunately with the timing of that fight, I couldn't go to back-to-back games. So I had to pick one or the other. And I'm a Tyson guy, man. To see Tyson, I know he's old, but as a kid growing up to see Iron Mike and then finally getting a chance to see him live and in person in a fight, I couldn't pass up the opportunity. So Yep.
I tell you, today, what I want to see in Dallas on the offense, and I really feel they're going to move the ball a little bit better under Rush than they did with Dak, because I think they're going to get back to the basics. And I really hope that McCarthy has a little bit more of a different scheme, and more motions involved to keep the defense on their toes. And don't put Lamb in the backfield, because every time you put him back there, he's never been back there as a decoy. He's always been back there when you gave him the ball. So it's so predictable. Don't put that toothpick in the backfield at all. He's not. If you're going to do anything like that, put Turpin in the slot and let Turpin come around and get the ball or something. But I think Rush is going to be a little bit more precise on his passes to the receivers than Dak is. I don't know what was going on with Dak. Like I said, I don't know what it is, but his passes were out of this world. They weren't even hitting the receivers right. Rush will move the ball down the field. It's a matter of whether he's going to get the protection. And if he gets the protection, Rush will find people and he'll hit them, because Rush is about the systemic issues of the game. But we've got to give him a little protection. And Tyler Guyton he's learning, but he's got to get a little bit better. Him and BB, they really, really got to step it up this game. And the receivers catch the ball. Don't drop the ball. Catch the ball.
You got to help your backup. I mean, when Cooper Rush was in there, he played fine. Granted, the game was, starting to get out of the balance and this and that. But I mean, Cooper Rush was playing. He played fine. The receivers didn't help him dropping those passes. And I think, to your point, if they can give Cooper Rush time, he's an accurate passer. He's not flashy. He's just going to be very, precision, systematically go through his reads, go through progressions, and just, he's going to make smart decisions. If they get heat on him, that's where the trouble starts. He's not mobile, and you're going to start him running around, getting happy feet, trying to make quick decisions. I think that's, if you watch the game he lost, because a lot of people look at that Cooper Rush run that they had. And I was there for the Bengal game when it started. Mm-hmm. And the thing is it got worse. His stats got worse and worse and worse, and the play got worse and worse because teams started to, figure him out and this and that. But the one thing the Cowboys had in their favor, the defense elevated their game up. Yes. And that's why I don't know if we got the horses to elevate our game up. We'll get it. You got Parsons back. Obviously that ain't going to hurt. But for Cooper Rush, do you see maybe mixing in Lance? Do you see some packages with Lance? Maybe both of them on the field, maybe running wide. You said don't have CeeDee Lamb in the backfield. Maybe you throw, Trey Lance back there and you do some run options. You do different things. You got to get creative. So do you want to see them both back there? Do you want to see would you prefer one or the other to be the lead guy? I mean, what's your what's your thoughts? And in the chat as well, what do you guys think?
Well, and because I'm an old school G, I go way back to when Dallas had Starbuck going in and out. Him and I think it was what was it? Not Meredith.
No, it was Morton.
Not Meredith.
It was him and Morton, because we had Morton on the show.
Craig Morton. When
Yeah.
they were going play after play, which is stupid. I don't want to see that happen. But what I do want to see is certain packages for Trey Lance going in. And that way we can be mixing up the schemes. They don't know what to expect when Trey comes in. And Trey doesn't always run when he comes in on the packages like a Wildcat. That he does come in and throw the ball as well. Because it could very well get the first half, we go with Rush. And then all of a sudden, maybe the second half of things aren't going well, they decide to go with Lance. I don't know. I don't know what they've been doing with him this week to get him involved with the ones. But I do want to see some mixture. And I want to see Flournoy get a lot more opportunities wide receiver, because I don't think that the defense is going to be paying that much attention to Flournoy as a receiver. And that'll give him some opportunities to get open. Because normally when they throw the ball to him, except for the exception of that pass he dropped last week, normally when they throw to him, he's a pretty sure-handed guy, and he can catch the ball, and he can do get some of those catches like Gallup used to do. But I want to see them bring him in the offensive core, on the receiver core, and give him some more opportunities as well. Bring Lance in on some schemes so him and Rush can mix it up. But don't do this quarterback for these two plays, this quarterback, this play. This quarterback, no, let's not do that.
Yeah, I think they need to, any chances they have, I think CD's going to be CD. They're going to try and take CD out of the game, but he keep play any spot of the receiver so they can move him around. They always do. So I think he's going to get his. Jake Ferguson is the one X factor to me. If there's any hope, you get him going. I think in last year, I think he killed Philly. I think. Hopefully, I'm not making a fool of myself. I only go off my memory, but I think he had some big games against Philly. I could be wrong, but something sticks in my head that he does. So that's kind of the thing. And a tight end is a quarterback, is their best friend. I mean, they can get him out of jams, dump it off quick. And I think they just need to matriculate the ball down the field. Isn't that what that old coach from the Chiefs used to say? I mean, that's what the Cowboys got to do. They're not going to get big splashes. You don't have a lot of faith in their running game. You heard, obviously they don't really have much, but Rico played well. I hope that they just kind of continue to give him the bulk of the carries. Zeke is now active. Dalvin is now going to be not active. So it's like they flip-flop those two guys, which you're pretty much, I don't think it matters whichever one you put in there at this point. So they're going to have to win throwing the ball, and you're going to have to win throwing the ball with your backup quarterback. So the odds are stacked against the Cowboys, but like I said, you never say never. And all I'd say to the Eagles, and in my hype video, I said it: don't let us win, please.
Yep.
Don't let us win, because I would stay off social media probably for a couple weeks if the Cowboys beat the Eagles. It would be like something you never seen on social media to the Eagles. It would be relentless, and it would be very, very bad. So they better not let us win. That's all I know.
And the pressure today is all on the Eagles.
It is.
It's on the Eagles. It's on the Eagles fans. It's on the Eagles media that's back home that calls that game. It's all on the Eagles. It ain't on us. It ain't on us at all. No. But let me tell you, our defense, our corners, and our safeties, they're going to have to be ready to keep Goddard, keep Smith and Brown as close to on check as they possibly can. Those are the three that Hurts is going to try to exploit us on, period. And Saquon, let's not forget about Saquon, jump over you backwards, Barkley. Saquon we're going to get a heavy dose of Saquon the first 15 plays.
I never throw the ball. If I was Philly, I would never throw the ball. I would just run it.
The first 15 plays, like every team has for the first 15 plays, Saquon's going to be half or not, if not half, more than that. I think they're going to try to play this game as simple and as systematic as possible. Run, pass when needed. Run, pass when needed. And if our defense allows that, it's going to be just like practice for them. That's all it is, just like practice. But if we show a little restraint and we show a little pressure on them, then they're going to have to rely on those 3 receivers. And Goddard is like our Ferguson. He's a beast as a tight end. And Brown is Brown. And Smith can get behind you just when everybody thinks nobody's there. And our safeties have a tendency of letting people sit back in the backyard drinking Dos Equis, waiting on the ball. So we need to be ready for that, and we need to do something about it. What's up, Chuck? I see your cuts.
There we go. I was updating something. It kind of lagged me for a minute, so I apologize. I was trying to look up something and I messed up. But yeah, so anyway, the defense is going to be without, Bland. So you're talking secondary, like what we talked about. Their receivers, Brown and Devontae Smith are going to, it's a mismatch. Diggs isn't having his best year, obviously coming off that injury. They say it's a 2-year injury, 2-year recovery. So he's not the same. You got a rookie that's going to be, lining up opposite Diggs. Obviously, you got Jay Lou that can help in the slot if Devontae, he ends up going in there. They're definitely not where they need to be. And I don't know why Bland, the injury is taking so long. I don't know if it's Bland just being overly cautious because he's got a contract that he could be getting soon. But you are getting Parsons back. And, Parsons, it ain't going to hurt. I don't know if that's going to change everything, but it's definitely not going to hurt things getting Parsons back. How do you see them using Parsons? You think he's fullback, or do you think he's just going to be very situational?
I think he's going to be situational because they don't want to just pigeonhole him and being just one scheme because Philly adjusts. But I think Parsons is going to come out trying to prove something. And I think Parsons, I hope he doesn't come out there trying to be Superman because he's just going to set himself back and get himself hurt real soon and be right back at the game. But he's got to be smart. He's got to be smart in the scheme. Now, I hope Parsons is the activator for helping to stop Barkley coming out that backfield because we're going to need somebody to punch Barkley in the mouth. And Parsons can do that if he gets the right scheme. They will probably try to double team Parsons if they see that he's coming out mentally, he feels healthy, and he's trying to play at full speed. But if they notice that he's kind of timid, then they won't try to double team him, and he might have a field day on our defensive line. But that just means the confidence of the rest of the defensive line will probably be elevated because they know they got their captain back. And now that they got the captain back, they want to prove to him that now you're back. I want to show you what we're trying to do to help you. So that should help their confidence. That should help the linebackers' confidence too, knowing that Parsons is back. So their confidence is going to be high. It's just a matter of whether they can execute. And if they can stop Barkley, now we have to concentrate on the passing because Philly's got a dual threat on us no matter how you look at it, passing and running. And they're in the best situation right now for both of them. But if Sirianni makes some good decisions or just lets these guys play, because that's what I would do if I was Sirianni. I wouldn't get too involved in it this time. Just let them play, knowing that they're playing the Cowboys and we're depleted and we're hurt right now and we don't look like we got much going on. Now, if we start to show that we're moving the ball, that we're making this game, we're getting a threat on Philly, maybe we can count on Sirianni making some stupid decisions and then that helping us as well. But I won't rush to manage the game, but move us downfield and get Trey in there so we can see what's going on. And Lipke, don't forget about Lipke. Lipke's a good blocker, but Lipke can get you 7 to 8 yards if you hit him with a screen on the outside because he's a bulldozer.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I would say, Parsons, he's obviously would have to play a huge game and uplift that defense. He can definitely, they're going to have to put 2 people on him. So again, they haven't had that luxury. So there could be some opportunity for the guys on the other side to maybe get some pressure on Hurts.
Right.
And, that's really what Parsons can bring to the table. Hopefully he can elevate it up. I don't know, conditioning, he hadn't played in a while. Obviously, I don't know if he's obviously not 100% with his ankle. I think he's good enough to play. So it's going to be interesting. But I would say going back, X Factor Jake Ferguson, Eagles, I guess, need to educate themselves too. Jake Ferguson had 2 very good games against the Eagles last year. One of them was his best game of the season, and most catches he had in a season, most yards he had in a season, and a touchdown in the season during those games. So, yeah, Jake Ferguson is, to me, the X factor for the Cowboys. If he can play well, be that safety blanket for Cooper Rush, I think it bodes well. But if I'm the Eagles, if I'm the Eagles coach and he was smart, I would run the ball all day until they could stop it. And that's, I would not try and be fancy. I would not try and be flashy. I would just be good. The Cowboys haven't shown the ability to stop the run consistently. I would challenge them. If you've got Barkley, I would challenge them. And if it doesn't, then I would work my pass. But I would slow the game down. I would just kind of wear down the defense that's depleted and their depth is thin, especially in the line with all the injuries. I would wear them down. And in the fourth quarter, it's pretty much you'd have open season. But I don't know. The thing about the Eagles and the thing about Sirianni and the thing about Kellen Moore, they'll always do the opposite. Like, I watched one game where Barkley's going right down the field, and then they never run the ball again, for drive that, they turned the, I think that was one of the games they lost. And then I'm watching bad decisions. I'm watching Barkley in the Jacksonville game slide before without trying to get the first down. You know what I mean? They do they do stupid things. And I don't mean to call them stupid. I'm just saying just stupid things and decisions that allow teams to stay in the game. And you've got a team that you're clearly better than. You got a team that you should dominate. Don't be cute. Don't be fun. Don't be fancy. Just play football and smash them. And that's a Cowboy fan telling you. If I was there, it would be a boring game to watch, but it would be one that it would just wear the hell out of them. And then by the fourth quarter, they would fold up. That's pretty much what I would be doing if I was them. But you never know with Sirianni. You never know with Kellen Moore what their agenda is going to be. Because what you don't want, if you're an Eagle fan, you don't want to give any life to a wounded team. You don't want to give any life to a bad team because a turnover here. Look at the Miami Hurricane game. They could have had a field goal. They could have had a field goal twice. They went for it on fourth. They went for it on fourth. Instead of taking what they get, they tried to, be flashy. No, we're just going to get that. And they didn't get it, and it flipped the game. That's what happens when you're playing a bad team. Take the points that you can get and wear the hell out of them. And that's, if I'm a Philly fan and if I'm on the Philly staff, that's what I'm saying. That's
and basically, like I was saying earlier, they're gonna go out there if they smart. They go out there and play a systematic game. This would be good practice for them, and they don't have to exert a lot of energy. And they just go out there and they can preserve the lifespan and resist injuries to their players because they don't need much to beat us. They can just go out there and run it, let somebody else run the ball too, throw the ball when they need to. It can just be real boring, but Philly can just take this one and move on like they're supposed to, and then keep their players healthy and not have to exert a lot of injury and expose a lot of plays. And Kellen Moore, remember now, Kellen Moore was the guy that used to draw up plays on a little cart, and he loves to be exotic. He doesn't need to do that with Barkley. To be honest with you, Kellen Moore is obsolete to the Philadelphia Eagles. You hear that, Bobby Murphy? Kellen Moore is obsolete.
Well, they want it that way. You want him to be obsolete. It's terrible.
Because you have a bona fide running back now. You have 3 bona fide receivers. You have a quarterback. So Kellen Moore's play schemes and his exotic plays, y'all don't need them. Y'all don't need them. Y'all can have anybody as your offensive coordinator right now. It's not going to hurt you. So Kellen Moore really is obsolete. And Kellen Moore would like nothing better than Sirianni to let him loose so he can put some exotic plays on us and embarrass us, because I'm pretty sure Kellen Moore didn't like the way he had to leave Dallas. But that's not going to happen unless Sirianni's ego and narcissism takes over and he said, Kellen, go do this. Do the rookie and do this on him and try to get like Detroit. Like I said earlier, you try to get fancy, try to embarrass us, get everybody involved, even the water boy, on plays like Detroit did, because Detroit was mad after last year. They couldn't wait to get this game back. You try to do that, it may backfire on you. So feel real good right now, Bobby, because y'all in the driver's seat. I see you. But if y'all
Well,
lose,
the only thing,
I
the
want
only
you to
thing I
come
would
back.
say, the only thing I would say, I respect knowledgeable football fans. But if you just talk stupid, that's kind of where I lose a little respect.
Yeah,
Because my man Bobby, you talk about Dallas Goedert. He had 30 yards receiving against the Cowboys in a game. 30 yards. Don't be. I mean, give me a freak. I mean, at least be educated. I mean, be educated. And
if you
it's
lose,
I'm not being disrespectful. I'm not trying to be
right.
disrespectful. But what frustrates me is when people just throw out stupid ass shit and tell you it's true. This isn't politics. We ain't no political shit where you guys can just spew whatever the hell you want on either side, and we got to believe it. At least have some facts to back it up. At least give me some facts to back it up. Goddard's a nice tight end. He's kind of slipped a little bit. He's getting older. It is what it is, but he's a solid tight end. I got no hate on him, but at least just talk some facts. Just talk facts.
Yeah.
That's all.
And
you said your tight end does it every game. You say your tight end did it every game. So whatever. Whatever. That's why I hate the chat. That's why I hate it. Maybe I read it wrong. If I read it wrong, I apologize, Bobby. But I was talking about Ferguson, and then you're saying your guy does that every game. So I assumed that you were talking about that, which I still don't even understand why the hell Philly fans are hanging out in the cave, but I do appreciate it. I do.
Because every other team's fans love to follow us more than they feel it. They wish they had an organization like ours. You know, I know y'all don't.
I do.
And yeah, we appreciate it. But they love to follow Dallas more than they follow anybody else. But Bobby, if y'all lose, make sure you come back. Don't subscribe to some of y'all fans do and go downtown and eat horse doo-doo, man. Don't do that. It's not healthy for you, and it definitely ain't got no protein in it. So don't do that, man. But come back if y'all lose. Make sure you come back if y'all lose.
He comes back. I give Bobby, I give the Eagle fans, I give them their credit in here. They do come back because, like I said, the Eagles had an ass beating by Tampa. I don't think he came back the next day, but he came back you have 3 days mourning. You got to figure that out. But at the end of the day, it's going to be a fun game. It's going to be an easy game. And Goddard in the other game against the Cowboys had 3 catches for 50 yards. So I don't hear he was hurt. He was there in both games, and he had in 2 games, he couldn't do what Jake Ferguson did against them in 1 game. So, Bobby, stop embarrassing yourself. You're humiliating your team. You got to enjoy this moment. You guys have an opportunity to beat Dallas. You beat us with our backups. Congratulations. All I got to say is, man, oh, man, if that miracle happens and Dallas wins, you'll never hear the end of it from this man. I don't know about you, Greg, but they won't hear the end
because
I'll laugh. And I'm on record. I was on a Washington radio show. I was on the Birds and Boys. I even acknowledge Philly is the best team in the East. Philly is going to dog walk Washington. I said it. And so I'm giving Philly a little bit of love. I'm giving them respect. That's the way I am. I'm going to call fair is fair. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to play Homer on this. I know Dallas is not a good football team. Dallas is, we got our backup. We got our backup quarterback the rest of the season. Maybe he gives us a spark. We'll see what happens. But on paper, this is not a good football team. Even when Dak was healthy, this was not a good football team. There was a lot of holes that they never, replaced. So this has just been one of those funky years, but it is what it is.
And on top of that, and it's not making excuses, but you have to admit and understand out there that we have a lot of major injuries to our first line starters. No team can absorb that and still win. And then when you do have a few starters in there, and if they're not playing as well as they can, because they don't have those other starters to help protect and to be there when you need them, that's a recipe for disaster. So Dallas don't make excuses. If we lose, we lose. We win, we win.
Yeah.
We're not expecting much today except to watch our Cowboys, because we can be 0-17. I love watching the Cowboys on TV play football. It's just something about seeing them on TV playing. I love it. So I'm going to love watching them play today. And if we win, I always do a video. Even after we lose, I do a video But don't let me have a video today if we win, because I'm going to play my favorite theme song, and it's going to be off the chain. And Philly fans, you're going to disappear on my TikTok like you did last year. So come talking now. Just y'all better not lose this game, baby, because I got a good one for you. And that theme song y'all be asking about, maybe I'll tell you what it is this time.
Yeah. And I just say, hey, I love my man Jay. You know, he loves the show. Obviously, say we're hilarious. It's a rivalry game. Cowboys aren't going to roll over. I don't think they're going to roll over. Eagles are a dumb football team. I agree with you on that. He's got Cowboys winning it. I love it. And they're saying don't make excuses with injuries. Who's hurt on the Eagles? Are the Eagles missing anybody? Let me know who the Eagles are. Let me know who's out for the Eagles for this game. Any of their starters. Give me the starters that are out for the Eagles, because I don't follow them up.
And we didn't say, and we're not making excuses. Mike already told you this isn't a good team, no matter. But see, that's what people do sometimes. They hear what you say, but they don't regurgitate what they heard. They throw in something else. Well, I'm making the example about me talking about excuses. We didn't make excuses. We just said when all those people are gone and we have major injuries, no other team can absorb that and get by. And with the players that are still there, if they're playing bad, that even compounds the problem. We just said that. We just admitted that. But you hear what you want to hear when you listen. And Chuck, you're right. I'm going to be hype on my hype video. Yeah, I'm going to hype you up, hype me up too. Because when the Cowboys play, I'm going to hype us no matter what. Because you never know until the game's over. In any given Sunday.
Yeah, yeah.
It might be what we want.
Oh, my man. Their left tackle is out. Oh, my God. We got 4 defensive ends out. We got a quarterback out. We got a quarterback out. Get the hell out of here.
The stadium is going to
got to be one of the done.
Philly stadium's about to implode because
Eagles fan base got to be some of this just uneducated. I'm not going to use the word stupid. You know, I'm saying it all in fun, but they got to be. I mean, when Hurts was out, that was a legitimate. You know, you guys cried, "Oh, we beat you without Hurts." I couldn't argue that. I mean, we beat you without Hurts, but we still won. It is what it is. No one's going to, when they look at the wins and losses, they're not going to say, well, that win didn't happen because, we don't count that.
They will.
We understand it. We understand it. But don't be stupid. Don't be naive. Don't be so dumb to sit there and try and say when a team is losing their starting quarterback, now they're getting 1 back. So 3 defensive ends on their roster. They're losing their starting cornerback, which, oh, by the way, was an all-pro last year. You know, you're losing all of these guys. You lost your other receiver. I mean, let's just be fair, for God's sake. Because these people drive me nuts. They aggravate me. Don't get mad. You know McCain's lost. You know I'm living on the edge. You know I'm just at the brink of jumping off that ledge, and you guys are trying to push me off. Don't let it happen. And I'll say this to you, Greg. I'm like you. I'm going to sit and enjoy this game. I'm not even going to the cave. I'm going to some friend's house. I'm going to pick up some wings. Got some beer, sit out on the patio, turn on the game, just chill and watch. And there's going to be no stress. There's going to be no stress. I'm going to want to win. I want to do all that. But where it's going to start is if I see them Eagles slipping up and I see them giving that game away because they're not focused. Because the only way they don't win is if they're not focused and they're focusing on something else. Unfortunately, the Philadelphia Eagle fan base is going to have to pay the price for what the Eagles did. So just make sure you guys handle your business, because I'd be bad. I'd be sad to do it to you. I know Greg's going to do it to you. I can't imagine what my man Kelly K9 is going to do to you. So you guys just make sure you win that damn game, because I don't want to have nothing going on, because I will feel bad for my man Twiz. I'll be bad for Carl. I'll be bad for Bobby. I'll be bad for all of these guys. And I think Bobby, I was talking about Carl, not you. So I apologize. Yeah. I get all you Eagle fans confused when we're talking about tight ends. So you got what we call friendly fire, because your other Eagle fan don't know shit.
You see, look, I'm telling you, this game today, if we lose, it's like, okay, well, we kind of expected it, But let it get tight and let us come out and pull this one out, man. I might have to do an epic video afterwards if that happens, boy. Because I'm telling you, those Eagles fans are going to go hiding. I'm going to run through the video looking for them. I got a friend, some friends in D.C., diehard Eagles fans, and they know I'm going to give them a phone call if it happens. See, they ain't going to call me if we lose because they already know we're down in the trenches right now. And,
I say, so what? Congratulations.
So what? We're the Cleveland Browns.
You're a 3-6 football team. Good luck.
But Yogi and Pauline, they know I'm going to give them that call if we beat them, because to them, nothing else matters this year but beating the Cowboys. And if we beat them, everything else they've done to this point now means nothing, because they can no longer talk that crap about us. And then every time, well, when y'all come to us in Philly, no, we're going to salivate and enjoy this one if we win it. So we have nothing to lose. We love watching our people play. No matter win or lose, it's going to be an enjoyable day for us watching football. And if y'all lose, get ready, because it's coming.
Yeah.
And coming hard.
That's the way it goes. And like Carl, man, we gotta get some Q-tips or something, because Greg talked about it. Greg does a video. He comes out win or lose.
That's right.
And I'm on my show Monday, win or lose. I could care less. The funny thing is even, I don't know if you've gotten this way with it. I'm getting older. So like when I was in my 20s, and I don't know how old all these people are that hang out with us in the cave. When I was younger, it was, if Dallas lost, my week was ruined. I'd sit and watch Sports Center 30 times and over and over and over.
No highlights.
I keep waiting for the result to change. You know what I mean? I mean, I watch the game. Same with Miami. I watch the games. I'm excited about the games. When it's over, I go find, I'm either out, I go in the pool, or I go watch the next game. I mean, my life doesn't fall apart all week. You know, Monday, it's back at it. I did a show after the Canes lost. I did a Dak Prescott video. I mean, it is what it is. So I watch football for the enjoyment. I watch football for the love. It's 3 hours of getting my mind off, the shit that goes on in the world and in your life. Sometimes it's just kind of that happy place. And I always want to see my Cowboys win. I want to see my Canes win. I want to see my daughter's football team win, when she's cheering for them. But if it doesn't happen, you know what? I still got a pretty good life. So I'm healthy. Yep. The kids are great. Family's good. So it is what it is. All I know is I love making other people's lives miserable. So Philly, if you lose, I'm going to make your life miserable. So just hide out, because I told you I was going to be more obnoxious than ever. And I will be, because I can. And I love it. And that's what I'm going to be. You know what we're going to be, Greg? We're going to be the fans that other teams are to us. The ones that you never hear from, but then when your team loses, they come out, even though their team stinks.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to be this year.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call on all these teams that are 8-2, but they lose a game. I'm going to say, you guys suck. You guys stink. Da, 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 da. And they're going to say, well, your team's 3-10. I'll say, yes, so what? You guys still stink.
But see, we don't hang out. We don't hang out and wait for other teams to lose and then go on their social media and start talking crap and all that. We don't do that, because they all gravitate to us, because they don't want to say it, but they respect the Cowboys organization. They know we have a winning organization. We had, other than this year, we have 20 consecutive years of winning and of having winning seasons. But see, they respect us so much that they follow so much. And because we're winners so much and beat on them a lot, that's why they follow us. And you're right. You don't hear anything from them when we're winning. But as soon as we lose, they come out like roaches and they come out ready to go. But when I was younger, yes, it used to mess up my whole week. I wouldn't even watch highlights. I wouldn't watch highlights all week long. And if they all of a sudden I got it on a sports channel and the highlights get ready to come on, I switched the channel real quick, because I didn't want to see the highlights. And you're right. You sit there thinking, well, maybe I saw something. I didn't see something in the game, and maybe this score is going to be different when they show it in the highlight. Yeah, but you get older and you get accustomed to it and you understand it. And life doesn't end after that. We got responsibilities. Life is bigger. This is a nice hobby, and we love the Cowboys. So we always follow them. It's a great time when football season comes. It's the best time in life for us when we watching the Cowboys play. So we enjoy it, win or lose. And today, if they lose, it's not a big issue to me, because I already know where we are. So it's more gratifying if we do win or we play better, because my mindset now for the rest of the season is to see what we have on that bench. Who's going to get opportunity to play more than they have been playing? See what Cooper Rush does for it. See if the coaches are going to integrate Trey Lance in there, and we can see what potential Lance has, and is he going to get an opportunity to play more and more during the rest of the season now that Dak's out, so we can see what we have. That's going to be the most excitement of me watching the Cowboys. Going to be like, oh, he's getting to play more over here. Oh, look at this guy. I didn't know this guy existed. And look, he's playing better. That's what I want to see. So I'm going to, my whole mindset now, I've come to the resolution that we're not going anywhere this season. So I want to see the potential we have on the bench, see what's going to happen with the rest of these players coming in playing. That's going to be the most exciting thing for me. I hope these guys get more of an opportunity, the Flournoys and all these other guys, because I want to see what we have potentially for next year to take into next year. So that's the excitement for me. If we lose, y'all coming at us whether we win or lose. Because when we win, they come at us, y'all won because that team was a scrub. Why is it every time we win, the other teams were scrubs? Unless it was your team that we beat, and then the excuses come out. Yeah. So think about that next time when you're talking, but I know it won't make a difference.
Yeah, no, man. I mean, it is what it is. But I'd say, Steve, I know you're a diehard Canes fan like myself and Greg. Don't let that loss ruin your week, because it means nothing. If they win out, which they had to do anyway, they're right back where they were. There'll be a 4 seed, 3 seed, whatever it ends up being in the playoffs. That loss has zero impact. They win the last 2 games. They go to the ACC championship. They got to win that. Nothing changed. The only thing that you could hope with that loss, it was a eye opener, and it was a wake up call to them. So sometimes losses can be positives. It could start a free fall, like Greg said. Maybe, one turns to 2. Sometimes that becomes a problem. But I think with this team, I would have rather them have a bump along the road rather than going in undefeated. And as long as it didn't hurt them, this was a good opportunity. It didn't hurt them. And maybe this is something that they can get better at. So that's why I wouldn't let it ruin my week. I wasn't happy by it by any stretch. No. But look at the big picture. It had no effect either way. It really has no effect on their season.
Yeah, and Steve, I was mad yesterday because I got a flag I put out in front of the house. Every game on Saturday, I put out the Hurricanes flag, and on Sunday, I put out the Cowboys flag. I was so pissed yesterday at that game that after the game, I went outside and grabbed that flag and brought it back in the house. Because normally, win or lose, I leave it out until late at night. Then I bring them in the house. But that's how mad I was. So I kind of feel your pain a little bit. But the consolation prize was Pittsburgh lost last night. So with Pittsburgh losing, it just basically kept us right where we were. And if we win these next 2 games, which we should, we win these next 2 games. And if that game was a wake-up call for Cristobal and they go back and say, you know what? We're not going to let this happen again. Then we get to the ACC championship, probably against SMU. Against SMU. What I don't want to see is SMU and Clemson. I'm tired of Clemson. I don't want to hear that, that they'll find a reason to put them in it if they have to. But let's win these 2 games and then get in there. And Pittsburgh losing last night, because I watched that Virginia Tech game. Pittsburgh losing last night basically kept us where we were. So the loss hurt, but since I know we're still where we were in the rankings, they'll probably drop us because they can't wait to drop us anyway. But that won't matter for the playoffs if we win the next 2 games. Because Pittsburgh now, they're virtually eliminated. So it's us and SMU.
Yeah. I mean, basically, Clemson's on the outside looking in. Clemson needs SMU or Miami to lose in order to get in there, just the way the schedule works. And it's kind of funky because you don't play every team in your conference the way they made these super conferences. So it makes the tiebreakers kind of weird where Miami beat Louisville beat Clemson, which gives Miami the edge, a common opponent is kind of what the way they did it, I guess. But yeah, it's fine for Miami. You don't want to see it. You don't want to see them lose. I agree with the defensive coordinator. Miami's got talent, on their defense. It's scheme, a lot of scheme to me with them, because like that 3rd and 18, I don't know what the hell he was calling. But and I know I'm kind of scrolling through the chats and it's just
what about Mingo? What about Mingo?
30 years, like I said, Rick is right. In 30 years, the Cowboys have won 1 Super Bowl, and the Eagles have won 1. So I don't know what the 30 years.
I don't get that. And
'96 is when Dallas won their last Super Bowl. So in 30 years, they each won one. If you want to say 20 years, the Eagles won one Super Bowl. Who gives one? I mean, let the Patriots come on here and talk shit. Let the Broncos come on here and talk shit.
49ers.
Let the Chiefs run in here and talk shit. You know what I mean? Let some teams that won multiple Super Bowls through these times. I mean, you won one fucking Super Bowl in your lifetime, and like all of a sudden you're the winningest franchise in history.
But
That's
Mike, it ain't been 30 years.
Bring up.
It ain't been 30 years. Philly's been in existence for 61 years.
They've been longer. No, because they're going to count their little. They're going to count the ones the championships they won when they're like.
Count the ones with the leather helmets. With
they got to get those. And they still, hey, let them count them. They still don't even have as many as Dallas. I mean, that's a crazy thing.
And that sounds just like my cousin in Mariana, who's a Bears fan. When we used to be last year, we were talking about Super Bowls. And he said, "Oh no, the Bears got more championships than that." I said, "Man, we ain't counting the ones when they had leather helmets that you just put on your head, look like Scullies. You can't count that. We're talking about the Super Bowl era." Philly's got one Super Bowl win in 60 plus years. 60. And they have the audacity. We got 5. They have audacity to talk about Dallas ain't won one since
and Bobby, I will give you a ribbon. Who cares? If you don't win a Super Bowl, who cares? At the end of the it's like me and my buddies used to say, I'll use this line this year because of our group, my team will probably be the worst. When none of us win a Super Bowl, all I say is we all got nothing to show for it, but we got a higher draft pick. And that's what we said. That's what we always say. If you don't win a Super Bowl or you don't win a national championship, it's the same thing I hear from these Texas Longhorns. They talk about the Texas Longhorns or Alabama. They hadn't won a national title since Vince Young.
Yeah.
I mean, we won one with Ken Dorsey. It was all in that same era.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the same era, the same time. So neither one of us have won a national championship in the last decade, last 15 years, or however way you want to call it. I mean, all that matters is winning. It's just like the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees hadn't won a World Series since Jeter left. I mean, it's been a long time. So, I could care less what round you get in. It always worries. Dallas is the only team that they say, oh, well, they haven't got past the divisional round. The Miami Dolphins, one of the most prestigious franchises in NFL history, haven't won a playoff game in 23 years. The Pittsburgh Steelers, another prestigious franchise, hasn't won a playoff game in over 7 years. I mean, who cares? But we don't talk about Pittsburgh because Pittsburgh won some Super Bowls.
Because it's the Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, it's just that what losers do is losers hang on to one ring and then they sit there and look at everything. But wait, we made it to a championship game. That means we're a great franchise. Wait, we went to the Super Bowl and we blew it. That makes us a great franchise. I mean, it's they make themselves look so stupid. I've never once come on here and talked about the Cowboys saying, oh, we're the greatest franchise over the last 30 years or last 20 years. It's the New England Patriots and the Kansas City Chiefs. That's it.
Yeah, and
it is what it is.
Bobby says, Greg, wipe off those old dusty-ass Lombardis. First of all, they ain't dusty, and we got them. And see, it's so funny when you hear that. That's why when you say, got to have some intelligence. Come on. Look, Bobby, it'll be a cold day in hell when y'all get y'all next Super Bowl. And guess what? Somebody's going to be looking at you saying, man, Bobby, go wipe off that dusty-ass one Super Bowl. Bobby, you won one Super Bowl in
and it took them, how many years did it take them to get it? 50 years?
No, 60.
60-something.
60. It took them 60 years to get that Super Bowl. 60 years to get that Super Bowl. And they got one. And you talking about wiping off dusty. Super Bowls don't tarnish. We've won more Super Bowls than we lost. Y'all lost more Super Bowls than you won.
We lost more Super Bowls than they've been in.
That's right.
Or at least the same amount. They've been in 3.
Right.
We lost 3. So it's like,
they love trying to get it, Cowboys fans. And you know what aggravates them?
It doesn't bother me at all.
Just like Stephen A. You know why Stephen A. says he can't stand the Cowboys fan because they're so obnoxious? Because you can't break us. You can't break us. No matter what you say, we still are going to be high on them Cowboys. Now, if you could break us, then you wouldn't even be talking about us. But you can't break us. It's like trying to break the will of somebody that you can't. So you keep trying and you keep trying and you waste all that unnecessary energy trying. But at the end of the day, you can't break us. And then you can't look at our record and talk about our record because we got something to show for it. And you know one thing about Lombardi's? You can never take them away. You can never take them. Remember, them is plural. Them. But y'all got one. And you had
take
somebody
one away.
And you had somebody to go out in the street, eat horse doo-doo on live television right after that. We don't do that. Who eats horse doo-doo? Eagles fans.
It might have been Carl and Bobby out there for all I know. I don't know who's on this show, who's watching.
Man,
this show.
Bobby got Dallas Cowboy jersey at his house. You know it.
Oh, he probably
got one at his house.
I mean, the thing is, this is what I'd say again, and I love everyone who comes on the show. I've never listened to Philly content. I never listened to Giants. Now I've been on their shows. I've been my man Smitty. I love Eagle content. I've been on his show. He does a great job. If I was an Eagle fan, I definitely would be supporting that. Birds versus Boys. They do Eagles and Cowboys. One's a Cowboy fan, one's an Eagle fan. I've been on their show. I enjoy it. I love, all the different content, but I would not spend more time listening to Dallas Cowboy talk than Philly. That's just me. Now, I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying ain't happening. I don't listen to Florida State radio. I don't listen to Florida radio. I don't listen to Texas Longhorn radio. I listen to Miami radio. That's what I listen to Miami radio.
Right.
That's what I care about. So.
And if you ask all these haters, if their team just disappeared from the NFL, what team would you want to be part of? And they would have to whisper, Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys. And Steve Soleil, you asking about my brother, how is he concerned about the Steelers and the Commanders? I told this week on Facebook, because there's a bunch of friends in Birmingham where my brother lives and my family lives, and we're all friends, and they know I'm a diehard Cowboys fan, and they got all the Steelers. And now a friend of mine, Derek May, he's got a sports club that he opens called Trackside. They all hang out there on the games. And I put on there this time, I said, I can't believe I'm about to say this, but I'm rooting for the Steelers this weekend against the Commanders. And they came back as though they thought I had a stroke. And I was like, come on, it's common sense. Commanders are in our division. Of course, I want the Commanders to lose. I want everybody in our division to lose. I want the Giants to lose to the Panthers today. I want Philly to lose. We've had seasons where everybody starts to lose in the NFC, what they call least, and somehow we come out on top. But whether we come out on top or not, I still want to see all the other teams in our division lose because it's our division. So my brothers, one is a Buffalo Bills fan, one is a Steelers fan. Those two are looking for a matchup between the two of them in the playoffs. That's all they're looking at. I don't know which team I'll be going for in that one, but that's what they're talking about now. We get the three of us get together, and Mike's talking about, yeah, Jim, we see them Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. We gonna put something on them, because they think they got Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson came back to save the day for them. But the Buffalo Bills are a wild card. You never know what you're gonna get in those two. So that's what that conversation is about.
Bills are doing better. Bills are doing a lot better than I thought they were going to do. I give them credit. Now I think Pittsburgh is going to beat Washington. I think Pittsburgh beats Washington. So. I think the Eagles beat Washington on Thursday, and I think we play them afterwards. So I'd be curious. I got to see how this Cowboy team looks, but.
And we got the Texans too. Don't we have the Texans in this 3 games?
We have Texans next week. We have the Eagles, Texans, Washington. I think if the Cowboys look decent and they get some guys back, and I'm not saying good, I said decent. If they're decent, they'll beat Washington. I don't think Washington's that good. I just don't think they're that good. I've watched their games. I just don't think they're that good. I think unless Philly if Philly doesn't win the division, then their coach will get fired.
Yeah, he will.
He's not talent. They're the most talented team in the division today. Now, hey, God forbid one of their players get hurt, something happens. I mean, that changes obviously the landscape of anything. But Philly is clearly the most talented team in the division. I think Washington has a lot of, and again, I got to be careful because the Washington Raiders, they got all pissed off, and I got attacked. I'm not saying Washington's future's bright. I think they got a great young quarterback. I think they're just not there yet. I don't think they have enough pieces on defense. Like I said, their defense is worse than ours. I can't imagine that I actually said that. Their defense is worse than the Cowboys. Their offense is okay. I mean, don't forget, this is a team that couldn't score a touchdown against the Giants. And Giants are a decent defense, but they're not. Yeah. I mean, you got to be able to score a touchdown against them. You know, in the first meeting, they won that game. I mean, they've had the rabbit's foot, right? They beat the Giants because Giants kicker got hurt. They couldn't kick any extra points, so they end up losing. You know, because they like got 18 points or whatever it was, and then the Giant, the Washington got all field goals. They beat the Bears on just a fluke play. Our man from the U didn't do us any favors. He tipped it up to him. So they've been lightning in a bottle with a rabbit's foot and having some things go the way. And sometimes you have those seasons. Yeah. You have those Cinderella seasons where the team overachieves, and that's what they're getting. And it's great for the franchise. They got new ownership. They got a new general manager. They get the new coach. They're building a culture. You heard a player talk about it. He never understood what culture was until this year, and he starts to see it with the new ownership. And you get rid of, Snyder, and you get a new coach in there with some fresh blood and fresh eyes. And the one thing I'll always say about Quinn, he's high energy. I mean, he is a motivator. Obviously his scheme didn't work well in Dallas against certain teams, but he's a good football coach. I mean, he's going to make that team better. I think they need probably just one more year. I think they're going to be a problem next year. I think they're going to be a problem next year for the Eagles, for the Cowboys, for the Giants. I think they're going to be a big problem, but I think this year they're just not there yet.
Yeah, and Washington, you can thank us and make sure you send the check in the mail. I will cash it for us giving you basically our defensive coordinator as your head coach, 2 of our assistant coaches, several of our players, which made the difference in how successful you are at this point. And Jaden Daniels. The problem is y'all better protect Jaden Daniels. I saw the hit he took when he ran about 40 yards.
He should be running.
And when that guy hit him, I said it before the commentators, and he didn't show it right away because he didn't look like he was hurt. But I said it right then. I saw his body buckle. Just like that, when they hit him from behind, he fell forward and buckled. I said, ooh, he's going to be hurt. And then later, he was talking about ribs. That was from that tackle. Now, they got to protect him. He's got to be smarter because he continues to run like that. He's not going to last long. Going to be an RG3.
No, he's not built for running. And I don't know if Bobby, you're talking about someone in the chat or me. I don't miss Quinn. Quinn had to go.
Yeah, Quinn.
They weren't going nowhere with Quinn. Quinn could not. He got annihilated by the same offense, the 49ers offense, the Packers, Green Bay, the same coaching tree under Shanahan. He couldn't beat them. They're all on the staff. He couldn't beat him. He's 0 whatever. So he had to go.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not that I don't like him. He had to go. So I don't know if you're talking about someone else, but I didn't want him back, and I'm glad he's not back.
No, and me too. And I think Jerry in the back of his mind was looking at, if we make it deep and we don't win, should he keep McCarthy or elevate Quinn? But that was a good thing that Quinn left. It's just that Quinn took some of our players. Quinn took a couple of our coaches, and it made a difference for the Commanders because they needed some experience, and they had some people that were hungry in the division, wanted to play with them, and it made a difference. And even though Quinn didn't work for us, it worked for them because they had nothing. But now Philly, there's no doubt, and this is just basic. This ain't saying this because it's a Philly fan. We use common sense when we talk about our division. Common sense is Philly may as well get the division shirt for our division now, because the division is theirs to lose. The division is theirs to lose, because Philly, no way that you slice the statistics or any way about it should Philly lose our division. There's no way they should lose our division. If they do lose our division, Sirianni will be gone so quick that they won't even put him on a plane. He'll be on a Greyhound. And I just don't get it. Philadelphia is already poised for the playoffs. The only team in our division to give them an inkling of competition would be the Commanders. And we'll have to see how those games stack up when they play each other and how well the Commanders play them. versus what Philly does, because we already know what Philly's going to bring to the game. They got all the weapons. The Giants, to me, are the dumbest team in our division and in the league. They had an arrogant, and I hope we have a Giants fan out here. They had an arrogant new general manager that was on Hard Knocks. Got up there with his feet up. I'm telling Mara, I'm going to call him, tell him he needs to just go look somewhere else. And got arrogant with a man who was loyal to him, and loyalty don't exist in the NFL no more. And all he wanted was a decent contract, and he would have helped. And then it ain't like y'all had a running game, and the draft was over. Basically, they were still getting other players from somewhere else. And they paid the quarterback, they gave him money for the state of New York, and he's garbage. And then you're going to tell Barkley, go look somewhere else. And Mara walked in that office and the owner said, it sure would be bad if he goes to one of our rivals. Where else did you think he was going to go? Fool, don't you know somebody in our division was going to try to take him? And I was hoping we were one. And when he went to Philly, Barkley, y'all did was made Barkley that much more motivated and that much more vengeful to playing the way he's playing now. And that was the dumbest thing in the history. The dumbest thing
look at it, went wrong
in the history of the New York Giants. And I know every day Mara is sitting there just sweating.
He won't last. And my man Bobby, don't be stupid, because either you don't watch the show, you don't know me, you don't listen to me. I told you exactly what was going to happen with this team. They never addressed the running game. They never addressed stopping the run. So I don't know where you're getting everyone was in love with this roster. So get educated in yourself. Don't I mean, on this channel with me, don't talk shit and put words in my mouth on this channel trying to say what I said. Go back and listen to it. Now, did I hope they can overcome some of those inefficiencies? Absolutely. I'm a fan. That's what I'm supposed to do. But never once did I ever say this roster. I said it got worse. Kelly said it got worse. We lost guys. I don't miss not one player. So don't put words in my mouth again saying that I didn't. None of the players that left, I all of a sudden I didn't care that any of them left. My problem is my man Jerry didn't replace anybody. Mm-hmm. I was happy with the people that left. I said you need to change the culture, but they didn't replace him with anybody. So my man Bobby, and I love the name Bobby because my cousin Bobby, he's cool. Don't put words in my mouth. And this ain't Game Time Brian or Marco. They don't speak for me. They don't speak for me. So I'm just saying.
And when you say everybody,
don't put words in my mouth on my channel. And when you be clear in what you say, but I said exactly what this team was lacking: running game and stopping the run. And what's happened with this team? No running game, can't stop the run. We all saw it. Now the injuries hurt, and you can say that's why I don't even give Zimmer. I'm not dogging Zimmer. He was giving nothing, and then he loses 4 defensive ends. He loses Sam Williams. He lost Parsons. He lost Tank. He lost Nealon. He lost Bland at cornerback. You lose all these guys, and they didn't replace anyone to give you depth. I don't even know half this damn roster. I'll be honest with you. Like some of these guys, who's my man Wheat? I don't even know who the hell he is. But so this team is depleted. But I just be fair. And maybe obviously you weren't talking about me, but you're on my chat and you're on my channel, and you didn't specify who you're talking about. You said you guys. So that's where I have an issue with it. But this team was not happy with them from the beginning. Did I hope? Of course. We all got to hope. Shit, man. We all got to hope. But I was not happy that they didn't address the running game in the draft, in free agency. I beat it like a dead horse. And same thing with the run defense. Absolutely. How you not address defensive tackle? You had Calais Campbell. I don't want to go down the list again. You had guys out there that you could have got. This season is exactly what it is. And I don't even blame McCarthy. McCarthy's on a lame duck year. You have a lame duck coach. You got a lame duck roster where you didn't improve anything. You're relying on all your rookies. Even McCarthy's come out and he's throwing shade on Jerry. He's not taking his shit. And I will cannot wait until my man Mike McCarthy goes on John Gruden's podcast and he says what it really was like in Dallas under this season, because it was bullshit. And that's why Jerry Jones is getting all the heat now. It's been brewing, and you see what happened with this roster. And if they, whatever they think their long-term plan is, I don't know. I don't really give a shit. I live in today because it's already been proven, in the last few months I've seen it. Life ain't guaranteed. You're only guaranteed that day. You're not guaranteed the future. So this team, unfortunately, this is no surprise. Obviously, injuries, you don't want to see these injuries take place. And disappointing in Dak. I mean, even before the injury, Dak was playing like shit. I mean, you got to call it for what it is. But when you don't have a running game, Dak Prescott is a quarterback that plays off the run. Yeah. And if you don't have a running game and the teams can just sit there and just play your pass, you really don't have a lot of opportunity for success. So disappointing.
Yeah, and when you say everybody was happy, no, what you really need to say and educate yourself that everybody was Jerry Jones, the only person in the Cowboys organizational fandom that was happy with everything. No, it was Jerry Jones, because Jerry was in the la la land. And this is the perfect hurricane that happened to us this season, and the creator of that hurricane was Jerry Jones. And that's why, of all seasons, he's feeling more of the pressure directly from the media, and he's responded in a manner way different than he has in the past when he started with those radio hosts, because he knows that he is so much embroiled into the problem that we have that it is getting to him so bad that he had to go out and rush at those radio hosts and get in their behind to say, well, I'll get somebody to ask the question. Because when, like some people say, I know I did that wrong, quit telling me. I know I did that wrong, quit telling me. Quit digging it in, quit digging it in. This year, he knows he can't look at anybody else and point the blame. He, like Mike said, you can't even blame McCarthy or Zimmer. You can't give them this and expect them to do this. And then before the season started, major injuries. And then during the season, we losing all these people. So they're not the ones that need to be fired. And here's the worst thing for Jerry. Jerry's in a dilemma, because Jerry knows if he does fire somebody, everybody know it's a clear scapegoat that's undeserved, because it's not the coach's fault. It's not the defensive coordinator's fault. Injuries to us have compounded so bad it's crazy. Jerry knows he can't fool the media this time. He can't. But he's not going to.
He's not firing McCarthy. You know why? McCarthy's contract is up, so he's going to say he didn't fire McCarthy. He just didn't.
But he can't. He can't fool anybody to say we needed a change, because everybody knows if you're going to fire anybody, fire the man in the mirror, Jerry. And you don't address, especially when he didn't have to. This is what kills me. He didn't have to go out and give up 15 players and the farm and this. He had a guy that literally moved in his backyard and said he wanted to play for him. And not only did he not sign him, he has to watch this guy every week.
Every week, we got to get reminded of that.
Tear the NFL up. And he didn't do a damn thing to get him when he could have got him. And all of the podcasts, all of the sports media, even people in the news that don't know much about sports, they all are saying the same thing about Jerry's failure. They're not looking at McCarthy. They're not looking at Zimmer. They're not even really looking at Dak. They're all pointing the finger at one person, and he can't escape it. And that's what's burning his ass up. He can't even sleep because of that. So there is no scapegoat for the Dallas Cowboys organization that he can get rid of, and the fans will say, oh, that was the problem. Oh, no. Oh, no. Jerry, there's no scapegoat. He can't escape it. So the issue is totally with him. Now, if the Philly had the same type of owner we have who wears all the hats and he made this decision, y'all be in the same boat. Your only limb fact right now is, what is Sirianni going to do in the next game? because that's the only problem y'all got right now. But it's a major catastrophe if he's wrong.
Yeah, now we'll see. And Roberto, I haven't really talked much about Bill Belichick. I wouldn't be that excited. I mean, the only way him coming to Dallas, if obviously if Jerry feels enough of the pressure, he's going to have to do something dramatic. He kind of did that with Bill Parcells, when Parcells came, and I love Parcells. Yeah. And then Jerry got back to being Jerry, and Parcells, he pissed Parcells off, and Parcells ended up leaving. So even though he said he was retired, anyone who was within Dallas knows why he left. But unless he has a very strong offensive coordinator, the one thing that Bill Belichick, I think he could do in Dallas is he could change the culture. And to me, the culture has been the biggest problem in Dallas. That would be his one advantage, is I think he could be the one to change the culture. And I mean by that is the culture in Dallas, it's country club. Yep. And it's, I talked about it after the Packer loss. If there was true culture and true accountability in Dallas, Sam Williams and Kevontae Turpin would have been cut right after the game for announcing they were having a victory party on social media at some strip joint after the game. And then again, Kevontae Turpin would have been cut after the tweet he put out about don't talk to me in the media. And you say, well, why wouldn't you do that to Diggs? Well, Diggs is, let's just be honest. Diggs is one of your best players. You're going to discipline him, but you're not going to cut him. But it's just the same mindset of Jimmy Johnson. He's not cutting Emmitt Smith, but he's going to cut Curvin Richards, for fumbling that ball. You have to send some sort of message that it's not going to be tolerated. This kind of shit doesn't go. They don't have that. And Bill Parcells brought that. Bill Parcells, if you remember, with Roy Williams, he was on him. He was on Larry Allen. He got, Emmitt Smith was gone. He changed. He got rid of the old guard. He brought in the Richie Anderson. He brought in the Dan Campbells. He brought in, his guys, his Parcells guys, like they used to always like to call them, his coaches. Problem now, Jerry Jones brings in the coaches. Kellen Moore was told that, Mike McCarthy, that's your offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Wade Phillips, they hired Jason Garrett before they even hired the head coach as to be the offensive coordinator. That's where I'm saying the cultural thing with Dallas, that's where the biggest problem is. So Belichick could do that. But outside of that, you saw what he did in New England after Brady left. He ran that franchise into the ground. I think it's the game's passed him by. I would love to see Dallas go out and get a young mind, fresh, young mind, give him control, let him run with it, and just see what happens. But I don't know. They're not going to pay him, which, I don't know if you've seen what these coaches get nowadays to what the Cowboys are paying. It's embarrassing. So I don't know I don't know what they're going to do, to be honest with you. It's going to be a long off season trying to figure out what they're going to do with the coach, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Bill Belichick would do exactly that, bring the culture, because Bill Belichick doesn't have to scream. People fear Bill Belichick just when he walks in the room. Yeah. He's a brilliant mind, but the only drawback is, yes, I saw what happened when Brady left. And it was almost like, well, Bill, you were successful because of Brady. Without Brady, none of that stuff you're doing works. So he would change the culture. I don't know how you bring him in to be that type of person without making him a head coach, because then people don't feel obligated to him because he's just a speaker. So they're just like, okay, well, he doesn't have any control over me day to day. But he does instill that level of fear in players without even having to say anything. And
he'd have to bring in young coordinator. He can't have the same cast of characters, those old minds that he had coordinators, right? So
right.
If he was a coach and he brought in a young mind like a Kingsbury or now I'm not saying get him, but I'm just saying mindset of a college or young NFL guy, that would be where it could work for him.
And like the 49ers head coach, like the Green Bay Packers head coach, those type of guys that came up through the system, but those guys are playing a whole different brew of game, a ball. Bring in a coach like that. Don't just go get anybody young, but bring in a coach like that. And Belichick, if Belichick was part of it, I don't know, but that would help us in the future. But bringing in those older coaches or bringing in a coach that that's going to be a yes man to you, Jerry, is never going to work, because Jimmy wasn't a yes man to you. And that's why you eventually got rid of him, because he didn't yes man you, and you got rid of a dynasty that was in the making. And now you regret it 25 years later when you finally come out in the media and regret it. So don't do that. Don't make the same mistake twice. Go out there and get somebody that's if you're gonna use McCarthy as a scapegoat, and I'll never believe it was McCarthy's fault, Jerry. So if you're listening, you can use him for a scapegoat you want. Nobody's ever going to believe that. Nobody's going to look at it and say, oh, yeah, he was the problem. They're going to still point the finger at you. So you do that.
Man, Twiz, no shit. They won on the defense. I mean, they won with Brady too, but who said they didn't? God, some people, man, they just say some stupid shit on here. I got to get better at this stuff. I apologize. I just get so like they want to do gotcha, like we don't know, like you don't know. Bill Belichick is one of the greatest coaches of all time, but he's also ain't done shit in a while. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be honest. I don't need him rebuilding a football team. Now, if he's coming in to be the hammer and they're going to give him, he's got a young coordinator, I'm all for it. But Jesus Christ.
Don't bring him in and bring in old coaches. Now, they're
so dumb they want to drive me.
Ben Johnson is a name they've been throwing around the league. I don't know much about Ben Johnson other than the fact that what everybody in the media is saying about him.
Beat the hell out of us. That's what he did.
Yeah, but if Jerry really wants to win, maybe he'll look at a Ben Johnson and look at getting somebody like that for the future, for the long haul.
It's 15 to 20 million. 50. Yep. You know what McCarthy's making?
4.5 or something like 4. That. But see, here's the problem. Everybody in Cowboys land, NFL land, whatever, we all know the common denominator when it comes to the problems with the Cowboys is the man that wears every hat. And we keep wishing that every year that in spite of him making all the decisions, that the players will somehow pull everything out in spite of him. And it doesn't happen. So the only thing we can rely on is the fact of hope for our Cowboys every year that they're going to do better. Hope that they get past the division round. Hope that whatever Jerry Jones does to sabotage the team doesn't affect it enough to keep moving on and moving forward. That's all we can look forward to as long as he's the owner. But we have no other choice. We're not going to abandon the ship because he wants to wear the hat until he falls, until he's only got one leg with a kickstand. We have to stay in there, keep the faith, and keep the hope, and enjoy the wins and enjoy the ride. And whether it's win or lose, enjoy the opportunity of when we get better. Enjoy the future prospects of what we might be. Because Cowboys fans, we live and die by the Cowboys. So it is what it is.
My simple motto, Greg, they got to win in spite of them. That's
in spite of them. You have to win in spite of them. But I do want to see Mingo. If I want to see him incorporated into the wide receiver core today.
He's not playing today. He's not. He's not ready. They brought a Cropper. He's not ready. I mean, he's going to get the last few. He'll get in the rest of the games, but I just don't think it was enough. I don't think it's enough. So.
No, but if Rush is consistent as Rush can be, he'll spread the ball around to the receivers because we have them, and that'll be good because Dak was trying to spread the ball around the receivers. He just wasn't hitting them. And then the few times that he did hit them, they were dropping the ball, and so I want to see something different today. I really do. I don't want to see the same schemes and same play calls we've been doing. I don't care if they just abandon everything else and just come up with total different something. I want to see that today. I want to see what we can do with a different scheme, different motions, and all this stuff that's been talked about that we're not doing, and all these players that we haven't been able to see to get the opportunity. That's what I want to see today. So that's what I'm going to be looking at. How well are we going to look, win or lose, doing something different? And if it turns out we win, great. That doesn't mean it's the formula for the future, but it was a good day. And a good day is all I can ask for after my Canes lost yesterday, too. So give me something this weekend.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, Roberto, we talked about it. I'd love to see Trey Lance just get in there with some packages.
Yeah, let him go.
Yeah, what the hell he got to lose at this point?
Nothing.
So, anyway, hey, I appreciate it. I'm going to go have a little lunch. I'm going to go lay out in my pool. And then maybe later I'm going to hit the Wave Runners. Then I'm going to go ahead and watch the Cowboy-Eagle game, like I said, stress-free. And then I'm off Monday, so I'm going to take my boat out on Monday and relax and have a good time. So Hopefully all you other guys are doing well. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Sunday football. Greg, what do you got? Any final thoughts before we wrap this bad boy up?
Soon as I'm off of here, I'm going to do my hype video. You see I'm ready, dressed. Coach, I got one good play for you. If you want me in, I can kick a 35-yard field goal, and I can damn sure catch a pass. So if you need me for that. So the hype video's coming, baby. I'm going to have that optimism about the opportunity to win. We got nothing to lose today. And no matter how it turns out, I'm still Dallas Cowboys for life. And you better believe it.
Yeah. And also, before I say, I'd be remiss, happy Veterans Day. Thank you for your service, Greg, and anybody else that obviously in the chat or listening to the channel. All kidding aside, whether you're an Eagle fan, whether you're a Cowboys fan, appreciate the service. That's the most important thing in this country. Thank you all. And hopefully, I love some banter, so it's always good. Like I said, I love having the other side in there. It makes it fun. It makes it great. So all my Eagles that hang out, I do appreciate it. You know, it's all shit talking. It's all love. So you guys have a good one. I'd like to say I wish you luck today, but you know I'm lying. No. But I will say, please, don't let us beat you. I will feel terrible for what is about to happen to all y'all. So please do not let this shitty Cowboy team beat you. Otherwise, it's going to be a very bad week and probably be a bad season. So anyway, you guys take
Bobby,
care.
One real quick. Bobby, go to Gregory Girard, Gerard. Gregory Girard 146 on TikTok, probably in about an hour. And you can see what the Cowboys do for hype video.
I appreciate it, brother. Take care. You guys have a good one. See you.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need